My name's Jake Miller. I'm 28, a regular guy who works at a lumber yard stacking boards and hauling deliveries. I ain't fancy. Live in a one-bedroom place with peeling paint, a couch I got off Craigslist, and a fridge that's usually holding more beer cans than anything fresh. But I get by. I pay my bills, keep my head down, and don't ask for much. That's more than I can say for my folks, Tom and Linda Miller. They've always had cash, but you'd never know it from how they act when it's convenient to play broke. Growing up, they'd pull this line all the time. We're strapped. Jake, can't swing it. Whenever I needed something, like boots for school or gas money to get to my part-time gig. Then I'd catch them that same night cracking open a bottle of wine that cost more than my whole paycheck. Money's tight, they'd say, booking a weekend at some fancy lake house. It's been their game forever, and I was dumb enough to think it'd never bite me in the ass. Last Tuesday, I clocked out at the yard, dead tired after hauling 2x4s all day. All I wanted was to climb into my truck, a beat-up but solid 2014 Ford F-150, and head home, maybe grab some wings on the way. I walked out to the lot, digging in my pocket for my keys, and stopped cold. My truck wasn't there. I squinted, thinking maybe I parked it somewhere else. Those long shifts can scramble your brain. But after 10 minutes of wandering around like an idiot, I knew it was gone. Stolen, I figured. I called the cops right there, pacing the gravel lot. It's a gray Ford F-150, 2014, license plates. I rattled off the details, my voice tight. The officer cut me off mid-sentence. Hold up, buddy. That truck wasn't stolen. It was sold. I damn near dropped my phone. Sold? What the hell you mean? Sold? That's my truck. I bought it. The cop's voice stayed flat. Legally sold by the registered owner. My gut twisted like I'd been sucker punched. There's a mistake. I paid for that thing myself. Title's under Jake Miller. Then it hit me like a freight train. The title wasn't just under my name. Back when I was 22, I needed a loan to get the truck, and my dad, Tom, co-signed. His name was on there too. I'd been meaning to fix that after I paid it off last year, but I never got around to it. Life's busy, and I didn't think my own father would screw me. I was wrong. I'd left the truck at their place the night before. My apartment lot was getting patched up, no parking allowed, so I figured it'd be safe in their driveway for one damn night. Should have known better. I hitched a ride home with a guy from work, fist balled up so tight my knuckles ached. When I got to my place, I called my mom. Voicemail. Dad? Same deal. Then I checked Instagram, because of course they're the type to post everything. There they were, grinning like movie stars at some swanky golf resort. Mom's caption read, "Living our best life, cheers to spontaneity." They had cocktails with little umbrellas, lounging by a pool that probably cost more per night than I make in a month. I sat there on my sagging couch, staring at those pictures, my blood boiling. They sold my truck, my lifeline, the thing that got me to work, the thing I'd busted my ass to pay for to fund their little getaway. And they didn't even have the guts to tell me. I cracked open a beer, took a long swig, and told myself I'd deal with it when they got back. But deep down, I knew this was the start of something bigger. I just didn't know how ugly it'd get. So my folks, Tom and Linda, were off living it up at that golf resort while I was stuck figuring out how to get to work without my truck. I ain't gonna lie, that week sucked. I had to bum rides from coworkers, and the lumber yard ain't exactly on a bus route. Every morning, I'd stand out in the cold, waiting for Pete from the night shift to swing by in his rusted-out Chevy, feeling like a damn kid who missed the school bus. I kept my mouth shut about it at work, didn't need the guys razzying me, but inside, I was fuming. They got back on Sunday, 6 days after my truck vanished. I'd been stewing all week, checking their Instagram like some kind of stalker, watching them post about steak dinners and spa days. I didn't call again, figured I'd wait till they were back on solid ground to lay into them. So that afternoon, I borrowed Pete's car, drove over to their place, and parked across the street. Their house ain't some mansion, but it's nice, 2 stories, big garage, lawn always mowed. Way better than my dump. I saw them pull up in Dad's silver SUV, unloading suitcases like they'd been gone a month. Mom's hair was all done up, and Dad had this loud Hawaiian shirt on, looking like he thought he was still on vacation. I stepped out, slammed Pete's car door, and walked over, my boots crunching on the gravel. Dad saw me first, barely glancing up as he hauled a bag inside. "Oh, Jake. Didn't expect you," he said, like I was just dropping by for a beer. "Where's my truck?" I cut straight to it, hand shoved in my pocket so I wouldn't swing at something. He didn't even flinch, just kept walking toward the porch. "We sold it," he said, casual as hell, like he borrowed my lawnmower and forgot to bring it back. "Needed the cash more than you needed that old thing." I stood there, jaw tight, feeling the heat crawl up my neck. "You sold my truck? The one I paid for? To go golfing?" Mom piped up then, coming out from behind the SUV with a fancy tote bag slung over her shoulder. "It was a great deal, Jake. Last-minute package, all-you-can-eat buffet, the works. We couldn't pass it up." She smiled like that made it all okay. I let out a laugh, short, sharp, and pissed. "Oh, well, long as you had fun, right? Who cares that I'm screwed without it?" Dad turned around then, rolling his eyes like I was some whiny teenager. "Don't make a big deal out of this. It was just sitting there at our place anyway. You'll get by." I stepped closer, voice low. "That truck got me to work, Dad. I haul stuff for extra cash sometimes, deliveries for the yard. You didn't just sell a truck. You sold my damn paycheck. He waved a hand, brushing me off. Take an Uber or something. Ain't the end of the world. Mom nodded, setting her bag down on the steps. We're family, Jake. We make sacrifices. You don't hear us complaining when we help you out. I almost choked. Help me out? You mean when you forget to pay the cable bill in my name? Or when you use my address for your Amazon packages? Dad smirked, crossing his arms. You're over here enough. Might as well still live here. I clenched my fists, nails digging into my palms. I moved out 4 years ago. You still got my name on your utilities, 'cause you're too cheap to fix it. Mom blinked, like she just remembered that little detail, then shrugged. We didn't think you'd mind. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my cool. You didn't ask me. You didn't call. You just took it. Like I don't matter. Dad yawned, actually yawned, like I was boring him. It's a truck, Jake. Buy another one. That's when I felt something shift inside me. I didn't yell, didn't cuss him out. I just nodded real slow and said, yeah, I'll figure it out. Then I turned and walked back to Pete's car. Driving off, I gripped the wheel so hard my hands shook. They thought I'd roll over like always, let it slide, maybe even chip in for their next trip. But I was done playing their game. I didn't know what I was going to do yet, but I knew one thing. They weren't getting away with this. Not this time. After that showdown at my folks' place, I drove Pete's car back to my apartment, my head spinning like a buzzsaw. I ain't one for big dramatic moments. Usually I just grit my teeth and keep moving. But this was different. Tom and Linda had crossed a line, and I wasn't gonna let it slide. I parked, handed Pete his keys with a quick, thanks, man, and headed inside. Sat on my couch with a beer, staring at the wall, trying to figure out my next move. Monday morning, I had to call in a favor from my buddy Chris to get a lift to the lumberyard. He's a good guy, didn't ask too many questions, but I could tell he was curious why I was suddenly truckless. You good, Jake? He asked, pulling up to the yard. Yeah, I lied, hopping out. Just sorting some stuff. I wasn't about to spill the whole mess, didn't need the whole crew knowing my business. Work was brutal without my truck. Usually, I'd take on extra runs, hauling lumber to job sites for a few bucks more an hour. Boss liked me for it, said I was reliable. But now, I was stuck stacking boards in the yard, watching the other guys peel out with deliveries. By the end of the shift, my hands were splinters and my mood was blacker than tar. I hitched another ride home with Chris, and that night, I decided I'd had enough. Tuesday, I took a day off, called in sick, which I never do, and headed to my folks' house again. Borrowed Chris's pickup this time, told him I'd owe him a case of beer. Pulled up around noon, saw Dad's SUV in the driveway, and knew they were home. I didn't knock, just walked right in like I still lived there. Dad was sprawled on the recliner, flipping through channels, still in that dumb Hawaiian shirt. Mom was in the kitchen, unpacking some shiny new blender they probably didn't need. Jake, Mom said, looking up, surprised. What are you doing here? Dad didn't even turn his head, just grunted. Still mad about that truck, huh? I stood there, arms crossed, feeling the anger bubble up. Yeah, I am. We're talking about this. Now. Dad sighed, loud and annoyed, like I was interrupting his day. You're blowing this out of proportion, kid. It's done. Move on. I stepped closer, voice steady but hard. That truck wasn't yours to sell. I paid for it, every damn dime. Worked my ass off while you two were sipping margaritas. Mom set the blender down, frowning. Jake, we needed a break. You don't know how tough it's been for us. I laughed, couldn't help it. Tough. You got a nice house, 2 cars, vacations every other month. I got a leaky roof and a job that's killing my back. Don't talk to me about tough. Dad finally swung his legs off the recliner, sitting up. Watch it, Jake. We're your parents. We don't owe you an explanation. I pointed at him, not backing down. You owe me my truck, or the money you got for it. I ain't letting this go. Mom stepped in, hands on her hips. We spent it, okay? It's gone. You gonna make us starve over this? I stared at her, then at Dad. You spent it. All of it. On what? Dad smirked, leaning back. Resort was worth it. And we got your Aunt Karen a little something, new necklace. She's been down lately. My jaw dropped. You sold my truck to buy Aunt Karen jewelry? Mom shrugged, like it was no big deal. Family helps family, Jake. You wouldn't understand. That's when I lost it. Not yelling, but cold, quiet. You're right. I don't understand. 'Cause I've been helping you two for years. Paid your phone bill when you forgot. Let you use my credit for that new TV when yours broke. And this is what I get. Dad waved me off. You're young. You'll bounce back. We raised you, fed you, put a roof over your head. You owe us. I took a step back, shaking my head. Owe you? For what? Treating me like a damn ATM. Mom's face softened, like she thought she could sweet-talk me. Honey, we got you something too. She pulled out a cheap keychain, some plastic golf ball with Resort Life stamped on it. See? Thought of you. I looked at it, then at the blender, then at them. You think this fixes it? Dad stood up, towering over me like he used to when I was a kid. Enough. You're acting like a baby. Drop it. I met his eyes, didn't flinch. No. You're gonna pay me back, or I'm done with you. For good. Mom gasped. Jake, you don't mean that. I turned and walked out, leaving that keychain on the counter. Didn't look back. I knew they wouldn't take me serious yet, but they'd learn. After I walked out on my folks, I drove Chris's pickup back to my place, my head buzzing like a kicked hornet's nest. I ain't never been one to cut ties. Hell, I've put up with their crap my whole life. But something about that golf ball keychain and their smug faces lit a fire in me. I wasn't just mad anymore. I was done. Dropped Chris's keys off with a "thanks, man," and a promise to square up later, then crashed on my couch with a beer, figuring out what to do next. Next morning, my phone started blowing up. Not just mom and dad, everybody. Aunt Karen called first, voice all sugary. "Jake, honey, your mom's beside herself. Says you're trying to ruin them over a truck." "That true?" I snorted. "Ask her about the necklace they bought you with my money." She went quiet, then hung up. Next was my cousin Eddie. "Dude, you're really gonna ditch your own parents? That's cold." I didn't bother explaining, just said, "They ditched me first," and ended the call. Then Grandma Ruth chimed in, leaving a voicemail. "Jakey, sweetheart, I know they messed up, but they're family. Don't turn your back on them." I didn't call her back. By noon, I had texts piling up. "Mom. Jake, please, we'll work this out. Dad, you're acting like a damn fool. Drop this." I turned my phone off and went to work, hitching a ride with Pete again. Kept my head down, stacked lumber, ignored the ache in my gut. That night, I got home and cracked open my laptop, pulled up my bank account, started digging through old statements. See, that truck wasn't just some toy. I'd paid every dime on it. Loan payments, insurance, even the new tires last year, all from my account. Dad's name was on the title as co-signer, sure, but the money? That was mine. I printed out everything, every transaction from the past 4 years, and stacked it on my kitchen table. Looked like a damn novel by the time I was done. Wednesday, I called a buddy from high school, Matt, who's a mechanic but also knows a guy who knows a lawyer. "You got screwed, Jake," Matt said over the phone. "If you paid for it, you might have a shot at getting something back." He gave me the number for this lawyer, guy named Bill Travers, who does small claim stuff. I called Bill, laid it all out, trucks sold, my money, their vacation. He sounded bored at first, but when I mentioned the bank records, he perked up. "Bring those in. We'll see what we got." Thursday, I met Bill at his office, a cramped little place downtown with stained carpet and a flickering light. I handed over the stack of papers, and he flipped through them, nodding. "You paid every installment?" he asked. "Yep," I said. "Dad just co-signed." Bill leaned back, scratching his chin. "Titles in both names, but if you can prove it's your cash, we got a case. They sold it without your say-so, that's conversion. Could get you the value of the truck, maybe more." I leaned forward. "More?" He grinned, showing yellow teeth. "Emotional distress, lost wages if it hurt your job. We'll hit him with everything." I nodded, feeling a spark of something, hope, maybe. "How much to start?" Bill shrugged. $500 up front. Rest if we win." I winced. $500 was half my rent, but I shook his hand. "Do it." Friday, Bill filed the papers. By Saturday, my folks knew. Dad showed up at my apartment, banging on the door at 7 in the morning. I opened it, bleary-eyed, and he shoved past me, red-faced. "A lawsuit, Jake? You're suing us." Mom trailed him behind, wringing her hands. "This is too far, honey. We're your parents." I leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "You sold my truck. I asked for the money back. You said no. What did you expect?" Dad jabbed a finger at me. "We needed that trip. You think life's easy for us? We raised you, you ungrateful." I cut him off. "Raised me? You mean fed me Pop-Tarts and left me to figure out the rest? I've been bailing you out since I was 18, your car payment, your electric bill. I'm done." Mom's eyes welled up. "Jake, we can't pay you. We don't have it." I smirked. "Guess you'll figure it out in court, then." Dad's face twisted. "You're dead to me if you do this." I didn't blink. "You were dead to me the second you sold my truck." Mom gasped, but I didn't budge. "Get out." They stood there, shocked, then left, slamming the door. I locked it behind them, heart pounding. This was war now, and I wasn't backing down. After kicking my folks out, I stood there in my apartment, staring at the door they'd slammed, feeling like I'd just lit a match and tossed it into a pile of dry grass. I ain't never stood up to them like that before, not for real, and part of me wondered if I'd gone too far. But then I thought about that truck, my truck, and how they traded it for a blender and Aunt Karen's necklace without a second thought. No, I wasn't wrong. They pushed me here. Next few days were quiet, too quiet. I kept working at the lumber yard, hitching rides with Pete or Chris, keeping my head down. Boss noticed I wasn't doing deliveries anymore and asked what was up. "Truck's gone," I said, short and simple. He grunted, didn't pry, just told me to let him know if I needed a shift change. I appreciated that. Meanwhile, my phone stayed off most of the time, didn't want to deal with the family guilt trips. Then Tuesday hit, and the storm broke loose. I got home from work, and there's my Uncle Dave sitting on my front steps, smoking a cigarette like he owned the place. Dave's dad's older brother, a big guy with a gut and a loud laugh, always acting like he's the family peacemaker. I walked up, nodded. "Dave." He flicked his cigarette into the dirt. "Jake, heard you're suing your folks. That right?" I unlocked my door, let him follow me in. "Yep. They sold my truck. I want my money." He sat at my rickety kitchen table, shaking his head. "Look, kid, I get it. They're boneheads sometimes. But this lawsuit? It'll tear everything apart. I grabbed a beer from the fridge, didn't offer him one. They tore it apart when they screwed me over. I'm just cleaning up the mess. Dave sighed, running a hand through his thinning hair. They're broke, Jake. That resort trip wiped them out. I can't keep bailing them out, got my own bills. I leaned against the counter, sipping my beer. Then they can get jobs. Ain't my problem. He stared at me like I'd grown a second head. Tom's pushing 60. Linda's never worked a day. You really think they'll bounce back? I shrugged. They should have thought of that before pawning my stuff. Dave leaned forward, voice low. I'll give you $1,000 to drop it. Cash, right now. But you gotta let this go. I set my beer down, crossed my arms. Truck was worth $4,000, Dave. Plus the extra cash I lost at work. $1,000 ain't close. He groaned. You're stubborn as hell, you know that? Learned it from them. I shot back. He stood, grabbed his jacket. You go through with this, the family's gonna pick sides. And it won't be yours. I smirked. They already picked theirs when they sold my truck. Dave shook his head and left, muttering something about me being a hard ass. I locked the door, finished my beer, and called Bill Travers. Uncle tried to buy me off, I told him. Bill chuckled over the phone. $1,000? Cheapskate. We're set for court next week. Judge, see your bank stuff, their sale receipt. It's tight. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. Good. Let's do it. Hung up, feeling that spark again. This wasn't just about the truck anymore. It was about making them face what they'd done. By Friday, the family was in full attack mode. Texts from cousins, voicemails from aunts, even a letter from Grandma Ruth begging me to think of the legacy. Mom called, crying, saying they'd lose the house if I won. Dad left a message. You're a selfish bastard, Jake. Hope you're happy. I didn't reply to any of it, just forwarded everything to Bill. He said it'd help show they were trying to bully me into dropping it. I went to bed that night with my stomach in knots, but my mind was made up. Court was coming, and I was ready to fight. Court day rolled around faster than I expected. Monday morning, I put on my cleanest flannel and jeans, best I had, borrowed Chris's truck again, and drove to the county courthouse. Bill met me out front, wearing a wrinkled suit and carrying a beat-up briefcase. You nervous? He asked, lighting a cigarette. Little, I admitted. He clapped my shoulder. Don't be. We got this. Inside, the courtroom was small, all wood paneling and flickering lights, like something out of an old TV show. Mom and Dad were already there, sitting with some slick-looking guy in a tie, their lawyer, I guessed. Mom wouldn't look at me, just stared at her hands. Dad glared like he wanted to deck me. I sat next to Bill, clutching my stack of bank records, feeling the weight of it all. Judge was an older lady, gray hair pulled back, no-nonsense vibe. She called the case, Miller versus Miller, and Bill went first. He laid it out clean. Jake Miller paid for the truck, every penny, over 4 years. His dad, Tom, was co-signer, but Jake's the one who worked for it. They sold it without his okay, spent the cash on a vacation. We're asking for $4,000, market value, plus $1,000 for lost wages. He slid my bank statements across the table, along with the loan payoff letter. Their lawyer stood up, adjusting his tie like he was hot stuff. Your Honor, Tom and Linda Miller are Jake's parents. They've supported him his whole life, food, shelter, clothes. The truck was a family asset, and they made a tough call to sell it. Jake's just ungrateful. I clenched my jaw so hard my teeth hurt. Bill whispered, easy, man. Let him dig their hole. Judge looked at the papers, then at Dad. Mr. Miller, you sold the vehicle? Dad nodded, gruff. Yeah, we needed the money. She raised an eyebrow. And you didn't discuss it with your son, whose name's on the title? Dad shrugged. Didn't think I had to. Mom piped up, voice shaky. We're his parents. We've done so much for him. Judge flipped through my records, then looked at me. Mr. Jake Miller, you paid all this yourself? I stood, clearing my throat. Yes, ma'am. Every payment, insurance, upkeep, all me. Worked at the lumber yard to cover it. They didn't chip in a dime. She nodded, scribbling something. And it affected your job? I swallowed. Yeah, I do deliveries for extra cash. Lost that without the truck. Their lawyer jumped in. Your Honor, this is a family dispute, not a legal one. Jake's blowing it out of proportion. Bill fired back. It's theft, plain and simple. They took his property, sold it, kept the cash. Family or not, that's illegal. Judge held up a hand, shutting them both up. She stared at the papers a long minute, then set them down. Ruling's clear, she said. Jake Miller paid for the vehicle, maintained it, used it for work. Tom and Linda Miller had no right to sell it without consent, co-signer or not. I'm awarding Jake $4,000 for the truck's value, plus $500 for lost income. Payment due in 90 days, or we'll enforce it through garnishment. She banged her gavel. Case closed. Mom gasped, covering her mouth. Dad's face went purple, and he muttered, this is bullshit. Their lawyer tried to argue, but the judge shut him down. I stood there, heart pounding, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. Bill grinned, slapping my back. Told you we had it. Outside, Mom grabbed my arm, tears streaming. Jake, we can't pay that. We'll lose everything. Dad stormed up. You happy now, you little punk? I pulled away, looked them dead in the eye. You did this. Not me. Then I walked to Chris's truck, climbed in, and drove off. Didn't look back. Won the battle, but the war wasn't over. 3 months after the courtroom, things settled into a weird kind of normal. My folks didn't pay up right away, big surprise. Bill filed for garnishment, and by month 2, chunks of dad's pension and mom's little side gig selling crafts online started hitting my bank account. Wasn't fast, but it was steady. Their house didn't go under, not yet, but Uncle Dave told me they'd downsized their SUV for some clunker and canceled their cable. Guess margaritas ain't on the menu anymore. Family fallout was brutal. Aunt Karen stopped talking to me after I wouldn't budge. Cousin Eddie sent a text calling me an asshole, then blocked me. Grandma Ruth mailed a card saying she was disappointed but still loved me. I tossed it in the trash. Dave tried one more time to play mediator, showing up with a 6-pack. They're hurting, Jake, he said. I took a beer, shrugged. They hurt me first. He didn't push after that. Think he finally got it. I used the first chunk of cash to buy a new truck, a 2017 Chevy Silverado. Nothing fancy, but mine. Titles in my name only this time, no co-signers, no bullshit. Started doing deliveries again at the yard, pocketed the extra pay, and opened a savings account. Ain't much in there yet, but it's a start. Moved out of my crummy apartment too, rented a little house on the edge of town, got a yard and everything. First night there, I sat on the porch with a beer, watching the sun dip, and felt something I hadn't in years. Peace. Mom called once, a month back. Left a voicemail, voice all shaky. Jake, we're in a bad spot. Can't afford the house payments no more. Just talk to us. I didn't call back. Dad texted a week later. You ruined us. Hope it was worth it. I stared at that message, then deleted it. They'd spent years leaning on me, guilting me into fixing their messes, and I'd let them. Not anymore. Where they're at now. Dave says they're renting a trailer out by the highway, scraping by. No more resorts, no more gifts for Aunt Karen. Rest of the family's pulled back too. Turns out nobody likes a mooch when the money dries up. Me? I'm good. Truck's paid off, job steady, and I ain't carrying their weight no more. Last week, I grilled burgers at my new place, had Pete and Chris over. We laughed, drank, didn't talk about the past. Looking back, I don't feel bad. Not one bit. They made their bed, sold my truck, picked their fun over me, and now they're lying in it. I ain't cold, just free. Took me 28 years to figure out I don't owe nobody nothing unless I choose to. So yeah, I won. Not just the money, but my life back. And that's worth more than any damn truck.